This episode is going to be slightly different because I'm not going to be showing up at some quaint little port or some dystopian industrial area and taking the dog and the camera for a walk. This time I'm going to be driving, partly because it's freezing cold again. I thought spring had busted through, but winter's come back and elbowed itself back into our lives. And there's one place that I would like to go and see, which is the Severn Bridge services, or the Severn View services as it's known. And this was it's one of the early 1960s motorway services, and it was really busy because it was on the only bridge over the River Severn into Wales. It's kind of fading from glory. It's looking a little bit ratty, and that's one of the reasons why I'm sort of attracted to it. So I'm going to head down there, but then I'm going to go and I'm just going to have a drive around. That's quite a dangerous thing to do because in England we have hedges and we have walls and we have very little access to the side of the road. So if you see something, you can't just pull over and have a look because there's nowhere to stop. You can go for half a mile and eventually find somewhere that might make a farmer really cross if it's across his gate. But generally speaking, there's nowhere to pull over so that you can jump out of the van and go and have a look to see if it is actually any good. And a lot of the times it isn't any good because you've caught a glance of it while you're concentrating on the road and you think, that might work, and you stop and pull over and you go back and there's something that disrupts it and you end up wasting a lot of time. I remember trips to America, not so much New York or Chicago, San Francisco, places like that where you could actually use the public transport, but certainly California and huge swathes of the Midwest. You would arrive at the airport and you'd pick up a rental car, and that rental car would be with you for the entirety of your trip because there was no trains, there was no bus service, there was no other way to get around, particularly if you were going around the small towns or you were transiting, say, between Los Angeles and San Francisco or San Diego. You had a pretty big distance that maybe wasn't quite big enough to fly, and getting a train that only does about 6 miles an hour is not an option. So you would use a car, and massive difference between shooting while you're driving in America and England. The big difference is that in America you can just pull over and you see something and you pull over immediately, or you pull into the place. Quite often that's possible because a lot of these places that you want to stop and have a look at are uninhabited. It's one of the things that I used to really, really love about America, was that you would have this amazing access. Okay, so this is our first shot, and I quite like this. I'm going to keep the grass bank in front, just cutting off the lower level of this so that it looks like it's just one story. It's hard because that door in the middle isn't actually perfectly in the middle. It's kind of off center a little bit, so I've got to be careful how I frame this because it's going to look odd. It's not going to make sense on a architectural level. I have always liked the back of billboard. It's just structure. I'm going to shoot it wide open because I want to drop the bridge out of focus, which I'm going to be able to do. And just move a little bit so I've got both of the suspension towers from the bridge. It would be very tempting to shoot it flat on. Ooh, that is so nice. I always like these things. They're always in front of something that you want to look at far away, so they've got nice space behind them. I might actually stop down a little bit on this one because I do actually want to see a little bit more of the background. That far riverbank is so far away that it's not interfering too much with where it runs through the back of my telescope. If I come up, I don't think there's enough difference in tone between the faded metal and the water behind it. So I think actually running that far bank, which is dark because it's all green, actually gives it some relief, which is quite nice. So that works quite well. Well, I'm going to try and get a shot of this quickly because the sun's come out. Come on, dog. I've got to put the dog on the lead because he's barking at somebody. And I love this because it's so Soviet. No, go away. Go away, good boy. The graffiti is all sort of scratched into this black paint. And it's something that I actually want to do a little bit more is details, you know, because sometimes there's interesting things. The surface of things is kind of just as interesting as its construction or its physical presence. It's too close. Still too close. Yeah, one of those is going to work. I like to be able to see the black supporting structure. That works really nicely, but the background isn't quite as nice. It's not as simple. But then I don't have to deal with that really bright green grass. So that's going to be a tricky edit, choosing which one should I go for, dog? Hey? Which one should I go for? So it's nice, didn't it? Like somewhat haunted picnic tables that obviously haven't been used a great deal in the recent past. I can't get them all in because I've got a hedge behind me. So it was a bit complicated where I run the right hand side of the frame, but with a very narrow depth of field, I think it might have made a picture. So we're going to head back to the van, but I might take some more pictures, but I'm not going to talk to you about them. Off you go. Go on, good boy. I really wanted to make one of these trees work in this car park because there are no cars here. It would have been really good, but it's just not working. There are lots of these little islands that you can see down here that get in the way. It's a real pity because I would have liked this. I just couldn't get it to work. I tried about 3 different trees and they all disappointed me, and there's nothing worse in life than when a tree disappoints you. Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I think I might have pulled off a shot. Getting from a little bit lower, able to get a fairly clean shot. My problem was that I had to come back quite a way because I needed to get the whole tree in, obviously. It would have seemed crazy to have lopped off some of the branches at the top. And I didn't want to go too near the curb at the bottom because that would have just made it feel a little bit claustrophobic. So, but there might be a shot in there after all. The light was quite nice, so the tree maybe didn't let me down. Looks a bit unloved though, doesn't it? God, what a miserable place to have to grow up. Well, this made quite a pleasant shot. I mean, I only stopped here because I was able to pull off the road. I mean, how desperate am I? This actually lines up quite nicely, and I think there was some light coming back towards me, and it made quite a shot. It's nice to try and make something beautiful out of a pylon because most people hate them. I mean, they are detested because they ruin our landscape, even if our landscape isn't what we think it is. People call it the countryside, but in actual fact it's agro-industrial landscape. And we're now at St Mary the Virgin Church, which is a bit special. How sweet is this? And it's actually a working church, which I'll show you in a second. Really hard to make a shot out of this because it's a little bit cramped and some of the aspects aren't all that nice. The backs of the wooden pews are lovely, aged wood with the sunshine falling on them, but actually making a shot out of it wasn't easy at all. Bible left on one of the pews is quite nice. It's got some gold lettering on the front. So the big problem with this composition is this telephone pole. It's got to sit away from that window. I wanted to get more of an angle in. I wanted to get the right hand side of the building, this just here. I wanted to get more of that in, but that, when I moved across this way, it pushed the telephone pole over the window, so I couldn't get it. There was nothing I could do. It was really frustrating. That pole is too close to the building to move it anywhere else. And the only blessing is you can see how that railing is running over the bottom of the window. At least with the very wide lens, I was able to get in close enough to be able to get over that railing, so that there was a bit of a gap between the windowsill and that railing. And I think I've got a shot. The right hand side of the building is in deep shadow, so it's going to be a tough one. But I do actually really like, it's a very dramatic sky, and I really like it for that. The wide lens just makes an interesting sky even more interesting. But that was a good stop. I'm glad that I found this little place. Nice. Let's move on, see what else we can find. So this isn't something that I would normally give a second thought to, because it's horrible. But with those clouds above, that actually might make something. So 5/6 should do it. And I'm gonna, oh, do you know what? I might actually shoot this in 65/24 format, because I think that will allow me to leave just the thinnest slither of this grass in the foreground at the bottom of the frame. And then I get, if I expose correctly, I get those rain-filled lumpy clouds. One of the nice things about this shot is, do you know, there's like this bank that stretches out from the centre of the frame to the left third, and it's quite nice. It gives me something slightly of interest to look at in the frame, but it definitely works in that particular really wide format. I really hope you're not looking at this on a phone, because you'll not know, but there's a little promontory that comes out from the middle of the frame, my frame, out here, and it's actually quite nice. Doc, come on, let's go. But I'm going to move on because it's very cold, and I've seen some structure from the church up on the riverbank, and I want to go and find it. So this is what I'm talking about. I really hope you can hear me, because it's quite windy, and this thing I love. This is what I saw from, oh, look at that in the sun. Quickly, John, quickly. Come on, camera. This camera's so slow sometimes. Oh, amazing. Oh, now I've got my shadow, too late. I had the sun just popping out, so it was right in the background here, but it wasn't on the whatever it is. I've got no idea what it is, but it's brilliant and I love it. And you might be somewhat overexposed now, but I think we're in for a long spell of sun now, so I'm going to have to work quite carefully. Never mind, it's all good. Look at it against that sky. That's so good. That's so good. I'm not even worried. Oh, look at the light. Got this little thin strip of light on the trees in the background. I love this kind of thing. It's so good. There's a little bit of light still on the background. And from here, it's just grey. I'm preferring this this side to it because the orange colour on the other side was garish, and I think this kind of works. It's a much more neutral look, but it does need a little bit of light on it. There's a little bit of contrast. You can see just on this side there's a little bit of definition on that, but I just need to pull it out from the landscape behind. I think I can do that to a certain degree with focus. Really good. Let's wait for a little bit of light. We're getting a little bit of light back, which is great. So I'm hoping that this is going to give me an extra maybe 2 stops of light, and it will help me separate it from the darker background and the clouds as well, of course. What I really love about this is that if you look, just a little bit of light coming in on those railings on the left hand side, which is really nice. It kind of balances it with what's going on the right hand side just here. If I can get a little bit more sunlight on there, and it'll drop it away from the clouds in the background and give me a really lovely shot. So these bits of nautical equipment, like the shot of the Coast Guard hut in Watchet, if you haven't seen that one, have a look at that one, because I had a lot of fun on that one. It was so good. Yeah, we got the Coast Guard's hut in Watchet, and it could almost be a project. But I'm always hesitant about setting out on projects because they tend to be things that kind of make you think about the future and stop you thinking in the present, and I find them a huge distraction and very difficult to navigate because there are so many imponderables. You don't know what's going to happen because it's in the future. So a project is something for me that gets in the way, and I have enough of a problem with procrastination as it is. I think if I was to embark on a project like these things, it would never happen. I've tried it before. I've really tried hard to do projects, and they've floundered. They've all foundered. They've all failed. Idiot. And I get so much more excited finding something like this, having not planned it. It's just, so much better. It's just so much more interesting that, I haven't found it on Google Earth and traipsed over here to get it, all the things that would have got in the way, and I wouldn't have seen the church because I'd have come straight here, so I would have missed Mary the Virgin Church. So yeah, projects don't work for me, and unless you have a very particular mindset, don't waste your time with projects. They're hard. They're really hard. You can do broad projects, like for instance, the dog and I, Scout and I, are going to be travelling from home to Finland where Mia's parents live, and we don't want to put the dog in a crate on an aeroplane. He'd be totally traumatised, and I want an excuse to do a road trip. And that's a project that I can manage, because that's just day after day after day of trying to find stuff to photograph, rather than day after day after day photographing the same kinds of things. My mind doesn't work that way, and I'm glad in some respects, because it allows me to be much more fluid, a lot freer in what I do, and I can be spontaneous. I can have a look at the maps, or I can just jump in the van and go somewhere like I did today, and wonder what happens. That's my thoughts on projects. Yeah, I'm not a fan. And please don't feel that you're a lesser photographer if you don't like projects as well. I'm going to try and get the silhouette of that house in the background as well, which means it pushes my navigation thing into the third. But that's okay, it's still hanging in there and it looks really nice. So that was good, and the sun can do what it likes now because I've got my shot. Although over there is the sky is much darker. That's amazing. Anyway, I thought I was going to be disappointed. Got a little bit of a reward, and it is the last chocolate biscuit. Oh joy, I'm so hungry. I forget lunch. I always forget lunch. I'm such an idiot.